The painted apple tree. One morning, the entire village abandoned the tree that had protected them for generations. Not because it stopped giving fruit. Not because it was dying. But because of a lie. In the heart of a peaceful village surrounded by green hills, there stood a magnificent apple tree. It was older than anyone could remember. Its branches stretched wide like welcoming arms, covered every year with glowing red apples that smelled sweet even from far away. Children laughed beneath its shade. Birds nested in its branches. Travelers rested beside its roots after long journeys. The villagers called it the Tree of Life. And among everyone who loved the tree most, there was a curious young girl named Elara. Every morning before school, Elara sat beneath the tree reading books while soft sunlight danced through the leaves above her. To her, the tree felt different from ordinary trees. It felt wise, comforting, almost like a silent guardian watching over the village. Then one summer morning, everything changed. A traveling merchant arrived in the village carrying dusty bags and wearing a dark cloak faded by years on the road. As he passed the apple tree, he suddenly stopped. His face turned pale. Slowly, he stepped closer to the trunk. Then he whispered nervously, "What happened here?" Nearby villagers gathered around him. The merchant pointed toward several dark stains painted across the bark. "I've seen this before," he said quietly. "It's a dangerous tree disease." The villagers gasped. "A disease? Can it spread? Are the apples poisoned?" The merchant lowered his voice dramatically. "If I were you, I would stay far away from this tree. Fear spreads quickly when nobody checks the truth." By evening, rumors had already traveled through the entire village. "The tree is dying. The apples may be dangerous. Don't let children go near it." Even people who had loved the tree for years suddenly became afraid. Parents warned their children to stay away. Travelers stopped resting beneath its branches. The market refused to buy its apples. And slowly, silence surrounded the tree. For the first time in decades, no footsteps came toward it. And though trees cannot speak, Elara could almost feel its loneliness. Days turned into weeks. Without people caring for the soil, the ground around the roots became dry and cracked. Nobody watered it anymore. Nobody cleaned the fallen leaves. The birds disappeared. Even the apples began falling untouched onto the ground. And for the first time in her life, Elara saw the great tree of life looking weak. Not because it was sick, but because nobody believed in it anymore. One evening after sunset, Elara quietly walked toward the tree carrying a lantern. The village streets were empty. Cool wind rustled through the silent branches. She stepped closer to the dark stains everyone feared. Something felt strange. Carefully, she touched one of the marks with her fingers. Black color rubbed onto her skin. Elara froze. Her eyes widened. "It's paint." Quickly, she pulled a small cloth from her bag and rubbed the bark harder. Little by little, the dark stain disappeared. Healthy brown bark appeared underneath. Her heart raced. The tree had never been diseased. Someone had simply splashed black paint onto the trunk. That was all. The next morning, Elara ran through the village shouting, "The tree isn't dying. It was never sick." But most people ignored her. Some laughed. Others said, "She's only a child." But Elara refused to give up. Every day after school, she carried buckets of water to the tree herself. She cleaned the bark carefully, scrubbing away the dark paint little by little. Day after day, more of the beautiful trunk returned. People passing by slowly began stopping to stare. Whispers spread once again through the village. Was it all fake? Did we believe a lie? Finally, The village elder walked toward the tree himself. He touched the cleaned bark silently. Then shame filled his face. "We abandoned it," he whispered. "All because we were too afraid to search for the truth." The villagers stood quietly around the tree. Nobody knew what to say. For weeks, they had treated the tree like an enemy. Not because of truth, but because of fear. From that day on, the villagers cared for the tree again. Children returned beneath its shade. Birds built nests in the branches once more. Fresh apples filled the tree brighter than ever before. And near its roots, the villagers placed a wooden sign carved carefully by hand. It read, "Herb. Rumors can wound deeper than storms. Do not believe everything you hear." And whenever travelers asked who saved the tree of life, the villagers smiled and pointed toward Elara, the girl who chose to look closer instead of following the crowd.